You are now listening to Asking for a Friend with TalkDoc, sharing insights through real, honest, and practical ways to improve your communication and relationships. Featuring your hosts, Dr. Pamela Kreiser, Meredith Edwards-Nagel, and Teighlor Polindo.
Okay, so we're back doing green flags. We've done red, we've done yellow. Now it's time to talk about what to look for, right? Or what, when you see it, might be something worth noting that's positive.
When you see it, keep it.
Ooh, I like that.
That's right.
So
let's start with a quiz.
Oh, for the love of the Lord.
Okay, so the quiz it's the opposite of green just to set us up.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
I don't know if I trust you.
I did not get the answers in advance this time.
That's true. She does not get the answers. Okay, first question. Approximately how many people get married every year in the United States?
Way too fucking many.
Wow. Explicit already.
It's declining. How many people are in the United States? I cannot answer
You
this.
can't answer with a question.
Uh,
The music comes on. The question is asked.
okay.
50 million.
Oh my God. 500,000.
Okay, between 4 and 5 million. So that's a definite no for both of you.
Hard fail.
So this one is multiple choice.
I'm going to get it.
Okay, which country has the highest divorce rate? Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, or the Maldives?
Russia.
Maldives.
You got it. I can't believe you got that. You were Google searching.
No, I swear I was looking into nothing. You'll see. Replay.
Okay. Next question. What is the country with the lowest divorce rate?
India.
I was going to give you multiple choice.
Oh.
So you've already got the answer wrong. No. Okay, lowest divorce rate. Guatemala, Vietnam, Peru, the Grenadines, or Sri Lanka?
I want to say Sri Lanka.
Vietnam.
Sri Lanka it is.
Damn it. I was going to say that and you said it. And then I was like, no, I don't want to say the same thing.
Oh my gosh. So now we have a tiebreaker per usual. And we didn't have to cheat, Teighlor, to get to the tiebreaker. So that was
Yeah,
cool.
you guys.
Which episode did you cheat in? Was it red flags?
No. It
In
was
the
AI.
AI
It was an
parenting.
AI,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to see where we set up Meredith.
Yeah. Rude.
She was tardy. She deserved it.
Yeah, she was late. So yeah. Okay, so you ready for the tiebreaker
forgiveness
question?
doesn't run thick with these two.
I mean, we're only going to bring it up like 700 more times.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
It's fine. Okay, so there's a setup for this, okay? So according to WebMD, the in-love stage of an affair lasts 6 to 18 months on average. Only 5 to 7% of affair relationships lead to marriage. What is their divorce rate?
Whoa.
75%.
Okay, Meredith?
It's a percentage I'm giving. Okay. Let me think about this.
Well, I said what percent? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was that you.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Oh, got her. Got her.
That was good. I'm going to say 83%.
It is 75%. Teighlor wins.
I got a number answer right.
Wow.
Yes. Finally.
Yeah, so that's a startling, if you think about it, fair relationships, only 5 to 7% of even get married, and then 75% of them get divorced. So that's a bad start.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't do it, guys. Don't do it.
So today we're pulling some research from Dr. Kelly E. Green and Dr. Shanita Brown. And I like what Dr. Kelly E. Green said. And I quote, she said, "We're conditioned to look out for danger more than safety in most area of our lives." So green flags are positive indicators that there's a connection that has potential to flourish. And the flourishing is in a safe, healthy, and lasting relationship. Dr. Shanita Brown is a mental health counselor, and she says that there's a good sign that you're compatible with a person and form healthy bonds. That's what green flags are. They're good signs. So we're going to dive into this article by Amanda Chattel that focuses on 8 specific green flags. I'm sure if you listen, you may think, oh, I have another one. Great. Other positive things, throw them out there. Teighlor, help us with the first of these 8 flags.
Okay, number 1, they respect your boundaries. Full stop. I love that. We love boundaries here at the AFAF podcast. Okay. Boundaries, the lines you draw for yourself in relationship are not only a way to ensure you feel comfortable and safe, but also to show you respect and ask for respect from others. That's why, according to Dr. Brown, when someone crosses those lines or even slightly pushes them, yikes, you're in red flag, or we might consider yellow flag territory. Mm-hmm. It's an appreciation of your individuality and an open-minded acceptance of those limits that you've set for yourself. Mm-hmm. So when we talked about boundaries in our series, it's not only what not to do, but also sometimes what to do. So boundary you might have is I'm talked to this way or I'm treated this way. And I think it's very important, especially early on, if someone is pushing that or challenging you on that or saying, oh, it's not that important. Yikes. No. The green flag is if they do that and they respect them and even, I think, encourage you to have boundaries.
Yeah. Okay. Numero dos.
One of the green flags is, do you have good communication with them? Do they express their feelings? Are they actively working on their communication skills? And this is a green flag because we know that it is the lifeblood of the relationship. I found an article that was published by ABC News, and they only interviewed couples that had been together more than 50 years.
Oh, cool.
And they asked them what was the secret to their marriage. And they said, so here's some different answers. I don't know if there's any secrets, but we respect each other and love each other. And we don't do a lot of arguing. Another couple said loving one another, having a lot of patience, and knowing what's important. Another couple said communication. We try to communicate with each other. Another couple said you have to have a sense of humor and not take things too seriously, and you have to have open communication. And the partner said, I would say exactly the same thing.
That's cute.
After 50 years, I'm not super surprised at that. And then the next question they asked, how do you resolve conflict the best? And the wife said this for this couple, you have to hear what the other person has to say and try to put yourself in their shoes and try to feel the way the other person is feeling. And the husband said, I had to realize, like everybody else, there's an alternative point of view and I'm not always right.
Wow.
Interesting how many comments these couples that have been married over 50 years had about communication. Most of the answers were about communication.
Yeah. Wow.
When I was growing up, my mom used to say, this is even before I got married myself, she used to always say, remember, marriage is a lifelong conversation. And I like that quote from her because she said, you're going to have lots of different things you talk about, but you have to be able to do it.
Dang. Nice.
And another thing about my mom is that she hated public speaking and always thought it was crazy that I did it. And she would think this podcast is a terrible idea. She would be like, why would you ever do that?
That's awesome.
She used to say that to me all the time. I can't believe you speak for a living. That's just the worst thing I could even think of. But yet, on the other hand, she was educating me from early on about communication.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Love it.
Lifelong conversation.
All right. Flag 3.
Okay, well, they make you feel like you're on a team, or at least like they have your back. The reason I like this one is because that is hugely important. If we remember back, I might have shared a story of when I thought my partner was not on my team.
Yes.
And how upsetting that was to me. Go back to our Surviving the Holidays series. To me, indicator of longevity is if you are a team. That's what I see in a lot of long-lasting relationships, is that they really seem like a true partnership and a team. Ralph and I did not start out on the same team when we started dating. Dr. K had us do a little thing in her class, Strength Finders. Do you remember this? Which I highly recommend. It was enlightening. And I learned that one of my strengths is to be an achiever, where you're always trying to be the best that you can be. And he had done it before we were together, and I found out that one of his strengths is a competitor. And a competitor is just trying to beat the person on top. So as an achiever, I'm just like in my own lane trying to be the best version of myself, and then he's just trying to one up me. And I was like, dude, what is your problem? Like, we're on the same team. Like, be on my team. And that was his first indicator that we were a couple. He was like, oh, she wants to be a team with me. Okay. And he totally changed his mind. I mean, this was within the first few weeks of dating. But he knew that I wanted to kind of like I don't know, be sassy with him. So we were kind of like razzing each other. But then eventually I was like, I need you to be on my
Taylor,
team.
be sassy?
What? And he thought that was a huge indicator of connection. Okay, we'll be on a team together.
I like that.
Yeah, we've been ever since. Why did you like this, Meredith? What did you want to say?
I like that Dr. Green says you collaborate to navigate life stressors. And there's generally a feeling of equity in the relationship. She talks about maybe the teamwork can be as simple as feeling a sense of value when you make a meal together or help with some routine task or a trip. Maybe you're trip planning like a weekend away or something. But basically you feel like they have your back and they care about what your needs are. Tommy and I started dating in 2019. And so COVID came shortly after that. And I'm sure a lot of people listening, maybe that's a similar experience. But she says, like, let's say you came home and you got laid off from your job or something like that. They worked to solve the issue with you. I remember during that time, because a lot of Tommy's work is in film and marketing, things like that. And that was, there was a huge like halt in the beginning of COVID with that. And I remember just this sense that we both tackled it. We were going to tackle it together. And it wasn't this like, and when are you going to get me back? You know, sort of sense of attitude about it. Like I've been in relationships where it's like, well, I got you this time. You're going to get me next time. I mean, there was a knowing of that it was going to be reciprocated, but it was just like, let's tackle this thing. So I wonder if people are listening to that going, oh, COVID brought this such a separation. I watched a lot of people separate because of that.
Yeah.
It's a big test. I think if you've played sports in your life, maybe if you haven't too, but if you've played sports, you have this kind of like, it makes me like rock. Like you have this like, oh, like you're in it together sort of thing. I just have totally felt that from the beginning with Tommy, and it like makes you want to like propel forward and do bigger things. Cause you're like, oh my gosh, if we can do this small thing and do it well together, let's do something bigger. You know, it gets you excited.
Like have a baby.
Oh, yeah.
Or have two babies.
Yeah. That's Taylor.
Come on, Mary. Come on,
Or
Mary.
3. We had 3.
Yeah. No, seriously. Gosh, you need a good team for that.
Yeah, you for sure do. And I can tell you in the 34 years that we've been married, it's been an interesting journey to see the complexity and the difficulty of those things that we would eventually encounter. Almost like you're growing up together.
Yeah.
Like you have things that are smaller that you have to work through, like COVID, and then you have another thing that's bigger, which is a baby, then maybe something else that's even bigger, a job loss or a sick parent or whatever. But yeah, the team is a big deal.
For sure. Okay, 4th flag. They give you space to be yourself and bond with other people. An example of this flag is that there isn't jealousy or resentment when you spend time with other important people in your life. And you don't feel that sense of guilt for taking the time even for yourself. So instead of, you know, I don't want to get into the negatives all the time, but Dr. Green talks about like maybe looking out for someone making passive aggressive comments or pouting or maybe complaining about your life outside of just each other. But this person and maybe even enjoys seeing your growth and passion towards other people or good pursuits in your life. You can ask yourself things like, do they encourage you to keep your standing date night with your girls or with your guys?
Yeah.
Do they tell you how much they admire you for going out and trying something that has always been of interest to you? Or do they not give you grief for canceling plans so you can support someone you love, maybe? Yeah, that makes me think, I have like a really good friend that's going through a hard time right now. And I love so much that my partner is like, hey, that's your girl. You got to be there for her. You know, it's just this like, gets it, sees that you love somebody and is super supportive of that. I just love that. Yeah. That's are a big deal. Green flags.
So another green flag is that number 5, they have healthy relationships with other people too, which I think this is a big one, that they have good relationships with other people is a really good sign, because it means that they aren't just convincing you that it's good, but there's other people that are in that relationship, you know, different friendships or whatever. And you're seeing that it's the same thing we talked about in yellow flags a little bit, which is this consistency across situations. And if we see, I consistently communicate well with you and with your sister and with your parents and with your employer. If I keep seeing that behavior across situations, I mean, it's very green. It's very good.
I kind of thought, is it sort of yellow, maybe red, if they don't then have any relationships with other people?
For me, yes, because of my field, I'm pretty in love with communication. So that would be a deal breaker for me, I think.
Yeah. No, I it's true. Yeah. I mean, I'm worth examining. I'm thinking of the relationship I'm in. So I remember early on going, wow, solid relationship with his brother for a long time. And I'm like, okay, friends, who are those people? Oh, a great relationship with this parent, and invested relationships too, not surface, like people know them and they know other people. Like they let people in to see them.
And I think that it's been previously built. It wasn't just built so that they would look good to you. It's like, oh, this is a 15-year relationship that you've developed over time. And that had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big deal.
I like that. Okay, so number 6, it's if they say something that they're going to do something, they do it. I like the follow through. I feel like this is important because to me, it also speaks of honesty. You know, you can commit to something and see it through. So Dr. Fancher says that even if there's not a serious commitment involved in the relationship yet, just the fact that someone follows through on plans and responsibilities is a positive sign worth noting.
So something super great about my husband, and our daughter would also say this about him. He is so good at following through with things we don't like to do.
Ooh.
Wow.
He is so generous in that way. He will call the restaurant to get the credit they didn't give us. He will call the hotel about the service not provided. He will cancel the double reservation we made. He'll do all the jobs that our daughter and I absolutely hate doing. He'll automatically do them, and he'll just consistently follow up. And it is enormously helpful for the running of the household.
That's great. Big weight off.
Appreciate that. All those yucky phone calls that, we hate me.
He does all of them.
Oh, man. Good
Thank
guy.
you, honey.
Keep him. So the 7th flag is a tie off of 6. So 6 is if they say they're going to do something, they do it. 7 is that their behavior is also reliable. So what that means is not only does the partner follow through on their commitments, but they're consistent in their actions in general. This one really, really speaks to me. So the thing to note is, if we all have different moods and things that happen and shit happens and life happens and things fluctuate, right? Of course, we'll have days where our communication could be better. But in general, you know what to expect with this green flag behavior. The thing that just mind blown, I read it and was like, yes, like this was the thing that I felt with Tommy and knew like this is different, but I don't have the words to it. Dr. Brown says this consistency allows you to be at peace instead of always feeling guarded or on edge as you would in an unhealthy relationship.
Because the inconsistent behavior is what stresses you.
Yes, or that lack of that peace that you feel in yourself. If you're finding yourself, there's that thing, that voice in you, that gut thing that's like, what is that? And it was always that thing. I didn't have that peace about it. And there wasn't this consistent behavior that was allowing me to just that feeling. Right.
So you know what you got.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you get out of the blue behavior.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. A lot of these green flags, they speak to what's your family of origin or those things. I think for me, that speaks to that too, because a bit of my family of origin, the emotions were a bit more roller coaster. So you didn't always know what you're going to get. And I think I got really used to that in finding partners. So I was like, I didn't know that was even a flag to see, but I knew it was something that didn't feel right or didn't sit right. Yeah. And it was that lack of peace. I remember I was talking to a therapist and they were explaining to me that chaos and passion light up a similar part of your brain. So when I first started dating Tommy, I was like, well, I was just making it up like, oh, well, this isn't good because it's not super passionate, right? But then I realized very quickly that it just wasn't chaotic.
Right.
And so that part of my brain that was so used to being lit up with the chaos or the ups and downs or whatever, it wasn't doing it for me. It was just good. And then you create passion in other ways and it's way more fun. Yeah, for sure.
Your body positioning when you said that was to relax your body.
Yeah.
I can actually fully relax with this person because I don't have chaos on the doorstep.
Yeah.
How I visualize it is my partner doesn't bring chaos into my home. But if chaos comes in, we fight it together.
Yeah, I like that.
So we don't bring it in. We don't act like it to each other, but we will fight it together as a team if that needs to happen.
Yeah, you guys will. Go Chrysers. All right. 8th flag.
Number 8, you feel good about yourself when you're with them. And we talked about this in our red flags. I think it was kind of if you're questioning everything about yourself, that's the red flag. So the green flag is if you're feeling good about yourself. And this is important for everyone, particularly people with trauma histories or those who struggle with self-worth for other reasons. So Dr. Green, the ability to value yourself because someone else sees your strengths is a beautiful thing. As Dr. Green puts it, a healthy relationship can be a mirror that lets you see your best self. Sometimes I struggle thinking, you only see what the other person sees in you. I don't like that. Like, I want you to love yourself regardless of what anyone else around you. But it's really fun to see yourself in a new light. And I think it's really positive for other people to kind of highlight, like, this is where I see your strengths and see the beauty of your personality and all of that. So if your partner's doing that and they're good at communicating that to you, definitely big green flag.
A couple of themes that I'm hearing in this that I would observe. I don't think you necessarily understand all the green flags unless you've done some self-work.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what your boundaries are and you haven't established those, then you have no real way to see if they respect your boundaries because you haven't done any of that work. It's the same thing as I feel good about myself because I know who I am. But if you aren't familiar with who you are, it's almost like the precursor to be able to notice the green flags is some self-work to get to a place where they can actually be seen as green flags.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really.
That's really good.
Yeah. I like that observation a lot about these.
I think another observation I would make about our married couples over 50 years, when I was reading the whole article, I kept thinking to myself, they talk about commitment, they talk about perspective, they talk about communication. And I like that perspective word in there because I think sometimes we might miss a green flag because we're too busy worrying about the red and the yellow. Maybe accidentally appearing. Maybe it's not even there, but we're worried it's going to be there. So I'm waiting for the yellow flag, right? And I want to tell a funny story here. When you first introduced us to Tommy, remember we all went out to dinner, Meredith?
Yeah, I remember.
So we had driven to the restaurant and then we were coming back to our house. Remember you were coming back with us? And so Pete and I had a conversation after meeting him in the 5-minute drive back to our house, and you were meeting us. And I said, what do you think? And he said, I really like him. And I said, I do too. Right. And so we were like, unbelievable. So great. Right. We're all excited. Right.
Yeah.
So then you pull me aside after you get to my house and you go, okay, so what do you think? And I was like, we really like him. And you're like, seriously? You can't name anything? And I was like, we really like him. We're sorry. We know, we're supposed to be evaluating him, but we actually really like him. And you were like, that's it? That's all you have? And I was like, I'm sorry that we like him. I mean, that's really what we thought and still think. And but it was funny because I think you can, and I'm not saying you did this, but I think people can sometimes worry about a yellow flag appearing and be paranoid. No, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm waiting for the bad thing to happen.
I did that for sure. Yeah.
We saw green, green, green. Lots of good things.
My good people saw the green. Yeah, for sure.
I was prepared to not like him or have some glaring something, but we did not think that at all. We were like, where did she find him? He's so great.
Bottom of the Grand Canyon.
But I do think for any of you who maybe are coming out of a relationship that didn't work out, or you have breakup pattern or whatever's gone on in your past, I would strongly encourage you to appreciate the green flags when they appear, because that's gold.
For sure. It's hard too when you've had many red and yellow bumps in your road, or you've worked through some of your own red and yellows that, I think I definitely can raise my hand that I did that in the beginning, was looking for those things rather than seeing the good thing that was in front of me at first.
I mean, it's a balance, right? Because you don't want to ignore a red flag, but you don't want to ignore a green flag.
For sure.
Or a yellow flag. I mean, they all do different things and give us different information. Alertness on for all these things.
For sure. For sure. Okay, so can we get into what our favorite green flag is about our partners each?
Well, I was going to say I often feel guilty, especially since becoming a parent and not having all the free time I used to have, leaving or going and doing fun things. And not once does he ever make me feel bad about anything. Like, he always encourages me to grow and enjoy myself. And he's like the biggest, like, don't cancel that. Cause I'm like, oh, I should just cancel and and do this other thing that's not that important, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's important that you go. And he is the biggest encourager of that, no matter how much guilt I have. And it pushes me. I love the county fair and the tablescaping competition. It's my favorite thing.
Wait, what is that? What's tablescaping?
Well,
So silly.
tablescaping.
You are so silly.
No, at the county fair, there's an area where they do a table decoration, basically, contest, and they get judged on creativeness and correctness. Like, is your fork in the right area? Did you use the right fork for the dish that you were serving? So you have to come up with a menu. And I love it. It's something my childhood best friend, we go every year and look at this.
So riveting.
He signed me up to do it.
For a
Signed you
salad.
up. Ralph signed you up. I love it.
Yes, we had always talked about doing it, and he signed me up and he said, "Hey, I surprised you, and you're going to compete in a tablescaping competition." So things like that, like he always encourages me. I'm like, I would have never signed myself up for that. My biggest supporters. I don't know.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
What about a green flag about you?
Ooh, I honestly had not thought about this, but I think I'm reliable. I think if I say something, I'm going to do it. I think my partner can trust me.
What about you,
Dr.
Mary?
K? Oh, me. Oh, my turn. A green flag is that being with my partner has made my life like positively bigger.
Oh, I love that.
Like I have dated people before where like, not that you have to like do a million things and that equals a bigger, greater life. You know, you define that how you want to define it. But I felt like if I look back, it doesn't measure up to the way Tommy has like broadened my life in every way. I'm like, I want to learn more. I want to travel more. I want to try new things. I want to wrestle with things I struggle with better. We went on a date the other day, and part of the date, the conversation was, he was like, how can we help you be as productive as you want to be? Like, let's get into that, you know? And I'm like, whoa, like this is so cool. This is like this is fun for you to talk about that for me, you know, or just a myriad of ways. So his green flag is he's made my life bigger. And I think in turn has made our lives bigger too. Okay, green flag about me. I'd say the fourth flag, that give you space to be yourself and bond with other people. I love to watch him go really hard into his passions and like put a lot of time and effort into it, and then I like to see him light up from those moments.
Yeah.
How about you?
That's cool. So I mentioned about my husband before. I would say a green flag in me that's not going to surprise anyone is number 2, working on my communication skills, expressing my feelings. So
You got it.
one of the ways that's helpful to our relationship is if I see him struggling to find the words, a lot of times my green flag is a compliment.
Yeah.
So last thing is to encourage any of you listening, if you are in a relationship and you are noticing a green flag, please compliment your partner and tell them how much you appreciate that green flag in them.
Good one. I like that.
Once again, thank you for joining us today. Please remember to rate, share, and subscribe to our podcast. And thank you for listening to Asking for a Friend.
Let us know what you thought of the episode. Our email is hello@afafpodcast.com. This show is for educational purposes only and is copyrighted. Written permission must be granted before syndication or rebroadcasting. Thanks for listening to Asking for a Friend with TalkDoc.